all proper like and say hello, everyone. This is a meeting of the TAG Contributor Strategy Mentoring Working Group, usually a monthly, I suppose it's bi-weekly, discussion about mentorship and all that. It is an official CNCF meeting and is covered by the CNCF Code of Conduct, which is paraphrased nicely, be excellent to each other. And hello. Thank you again for coming. Again, I really appreciate all of you coming here and spending your time working on this type of stuff. It's very much appreciated. I have been working behind the scenes a little bit, trying to get some more Linux Foundation help for us, particularly around the things that only I can do currently, which is to say we are, I'm working with, I just met with virtually with John, and I'm hoping to bring them in to have some Linux Foundation folks do some of the Linux Foundation, the LFX platform administration, because right now we are doing a lot of stuff in GitHub and in Google Sheets and whatnot, and then I have to go through and manage putting that into the platform in order to open things up for applications and all the rest of it. And so we're hoping that we can get some help with that, which would free me up to do some other stuff that is also pressing. And this leads into I moved your comment. I think it was Ali, you were typing about the LFX platform admin access for non-CNCF employees, and this person is who I would talk to about that. So I've put that in as this as a cue for me to also bring that up with them, because the more that we can get this into the community, especially as we start bringing on more folks who are willing to be administrators in these various projects and programs, I want to make sure that we've got a roadmap for community involvement in that as well. So I think that's my first bit. Rian, I think you're up next.
All right, thank you very much. Ali, you're right. The boards are private, so we need somebody to set it public. So let me. In our meeting that we had earlier with the contributor strategy, we were discussing for the roadmap to have a single project board for all working groups and initiatives under the TAG contributor strategy, in a new version of the board where you can actually have views for the different. So we basically break it up in different views. So if I can share the screen, let me.
Can you, whomever is taking the notes, can you tag me on making this public? That's something either I should be able to do, or I can find out who can.
Well, this out quickly, and then let's go and share a screen. I'm going to share that screen. All right, so let's go to the board. So basically what I've done is I dived into the TAG contributor strategy repo and took all the PRs and all the issues and stuck that on the board under new. So we just have a list of what's in that repo. There is some things, okay, then I've made, so this is the overall project board. Then I made for governance and for mentoring and for help wanted, and we can change the views and add views, remove views as we see fit. Then I went and I added a view specifically for the label mentoring. Inside the CNCF tag contributor strategy repo, there is actually 2 issues tagged with mentoring. But the issues that is showing up, if we go to our repo for mentoring specifically, there's 13 issues there that is not showing up. So what I did as an experiment, I added a label called mentoring, and I assigned 2 tickets with that label.
Right.
And I added the tickets to our project board, because the nice thing with the new version of the project boards, they actually allow cross-repo project management.
Yep.
And they actually then, if you go mentoring, they do show up here. So that's what I'm proposing at the moment. Yes.
May I interject?
Yes,
I think we should be able to link this board to the mentoring repository as well. I don't know if you can choose more than one, but I would prefer in the mentoring repo to not have a mentoring label, because it's like GitHub kind of stutters already in terms of repeating itself. And so I would prefer not to have a mentoring label in the mentoring repo, because it's a touch redundant. But I think that we can do this. I think we can automate this anyway, without necessarily without that label. Is there an argument other than the mechanical use for the label in getting this into the board? Is there an argument for having the label?
No, not really. It was for getting it into the board, but you're actually right. There should be other ways, because at the moment I'm just filtering for the label mentoring. If there is another label that is on this side that we want to filter according to, that is unique to, no, there isn't.
Well, I don't think we would need a label. We can just bring all the issues in. Is there any issue on here that shouldn't be on this board?
The idea is to have all issues related to tag contributor strategy and all their working groups available in one project board. And then you can see them in different views. So we'll move them. That was what they discussed in the last meeting. We'll move them across the board as we manage them here, and every initiative can move their own around. And then when you want to just look at mentoring as a project, as a separate working group, you can filter by mentoring, and we can have a board view for this as well. Basically went with the assignees and the status columns. We can change this whichever way works for us.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So what that sounds like is everything in CNCF mentoring should be on this view, so we don't need to label it specifically.
So
yes.
Can we do
the way I get the view working is at the moment by the label. I think you can make it work by which repo it comes from, but as well.
Yeah, we can sort that out, I think.
Okay.
Can we do like label mentoring or repo mentoring? So that would include all this stuff from tag strategy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking now. I'm sure you should be able to filter. I don't have experience like that, but I think you should be able to say everything from CNCF mentoring repo plus everything with a label that says mentoring goes on this view. So okay. I hear your concern about over labeling. I will give that a swing and see how I can fix that.
I'm going to see if I can get admin status on this particular board and see if I can't connect it to a second repo. And potentially a third and fourth. I think there's going to be a few things in there, but this is an interesting idea. So I'm happy to.
At the moment, what I've done is, and it's probably the wrong way. I've brought in all the issues manually. So yes, I think if we link it properly, it's actually going to, and then we can add automation to automatically put all new issues and new PRs in the project new column.
Yeah.
So this was just a yesterday hack to get it together for the meeting.
Are you the admin on it currently?
CNCF is the admin, as far as I know.
Who put the who created the board for you initially?
I created the board, but it works a little funny. Let me stop my share so I can just have a look. If I go to settings, when I created the board, it asked me who's going to be the owner, and I said CNCF, the CNCF GitHub handle.
Right.
Or
Okay. I
the
see
org.
what's
So
going
it
on.
belongs to
then.
the org. Manage
Okay, I might-
access. Let's
We're gonna
see.
have to shift. We're gonna have to shift that a little bit, I think. Projects, because what we need to do is, so that's the tag contributor strategy board. It is private. And again, I don't have, and this is actually something I'm working on this week too. I need to get org admin status. I should have it already. I should have had it a year ago, but I don't. So let me work on that. I can help. And if I can't help, then I can get somebody else to help. Ali?
So okay, this is actually pretty good. I think the project views, the projects, and like grouping of the tickets issues, they're very good. But can we have some kind of like, how do we want to use this? Like, do we want to go over new tickets, like triaging? Well, it's not a technical project, so maybe triaging doesn't make sense, but like, do we want to go through them within the call, within this call? Or how do you want to use the project in general?
What I was thinking while I was populating this, and I actually for tomorrow's for Friday's meeting, Thursday's meeting, for tag contributor meeting, I added one specific ticket that I noticed there was some proper work done on it, and it just needs final approval, and it's from 2021. And I think once we got the board up, we're gonna kind of feel our way through this, and I think then governance would have their bits put together in one space, and we will have our things in one space. And then we can either use this view as a table, or we can change that into a project board as well. So I think each group should decide what their view should look like. And if we prefer a project board with not in a table form, but in a board form with columns, it might make us more productive to move them across the board rather than just move them in the front board. And I'm not sure if we can have a board on both sides. I'll have to figure that out. But I think having all the things together here will help us to avoid having ancient things here, and let's decide what stays. And then the other thing that I also noted is there's a lot of issues, not necessarily for us as well, but also directly for tag contributor strategy, where issues is very old. They don't even have labels. Simply because there's too many people, too much work and too little people to do it. I think if we enforce labeling a little stricter on ourselves, it will also help us to move through the work.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I like the idea.
Thanks. I will keep refining and keep on feeding back as we go. Thanks for the feedback, note on the labels. I'll fix that.
Yep. All right, so I think the next thing on our agenda is term 1 and term 2 for LFX this year. Just update on timelines. Term 1 is ending. Evals are getting sent out. I've actually scheduled that email. It should go out at 5:01 today. And then there's some questions about the final day of the semester being different from the final evals being done. Sorry, I got confused there. The scheduled email is actually for term 2 thing. So the end of semester evals are due today at 5 p.m. If there are, I think the last time I checked, we had like 12 of 60 in. So I'm hoping that they will be in by the time I look at them again. I sent out some reminder emails yesterday to make sure that folks were aware. Otherwise, I have to go around and poke people individually to get them. And there has been some question about the final day of the semester being a different date from the when the evals and when the work should be done. So in my opinion, the work the mentees are doing should be done the day before the evals are due. Now, we don't specify that, but how can you evaluate if you don't have the final sort of piece, right? So I think that we might want to consider being explicit about the last day of work versus the evaluation date in our calendaring. Now, the reason I have historically had a week to the end of the semester after the evaluations are due is because things tend to move around a bit and it gives us a little bit of slough. But it also, and this is I don't think it's a requirement, and I'm wondering if we should make it a requirement. So this is a question to the team here. It used to be that I think we asked every mentee to write a blog post about their experience. I would like to do more of that. And that last week is a good opportunity for the mentee to be finished their work, be in a reflective mood, and have within 1 week, okay, if you post a blog and share the link with us, then we can, I don't know, collect them, put those blog posts in the end of term blog post on the CNCF site, because we always, at the end of the term, always have a little bit of, it's like, okay, well, let's collect everything. I collect feedback and from both the mentors and the mentees. And so it's one of those things that if they've got a blog post available, then we can share it and boost it and do all the rest of that. So that's what that last week is sort of traditionally for, but I think that we've moved away from that. And I think that if we want to move back to that, we should be more explicit about needing that. Thoughts?
I definitely think it's a good thing. I think it's capturing all that experience while it's still fresh. You know, obviously given more time to, you know, to dissipate that experience, can, you know, lose some of the core sort of learnings and things that the mentee is going to pick up. Documenting that sort of thing in general is going to be important for the mentees, for the mentors, and obviously any other future mentees who are looking to come into it as well.
Yeah.
And it also helps us to sort of identify any other areas for improvement for future intakes and things too. So
Right. Yeah.
I don't think it's an unrealistic request personally.
Okay, so then that extra week at the end, I think we just need to be more clear about what it is, and so I think we need to again add something to our documentation set that is the other thing. So I'm just going to add something to our agenda at the end here.
Did anyone else have any thoughts on that?
What I'm thinking about, I like the idea about the blog post. And what I'm thinking, if you do the blog post as like the last hurdle to cross before finishing, you'll get blog post. If you do it the retrospective, okay, all work is done, would you like to do a blog post, you're going to get just about zero. So to kind of make it a before you finish, before you leave the door, please sign up here. That would be great. And then, because I think there's so much value in blogs, I'm not even sure if I don't know if it's possible, but want to put a little bit of a prize on it, $50 extra for the best blog post type of thing. And
maybe some swag or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little sweetener for the person with the best blog post, get some or free training or something that
Yeah.
will
That's
incentivize to get a real good quality blog post out.
I think it would be hard to do extra cash just because we're already paying folks. But I think that that's something else I should probably. That's something that we should probably. So I think swag is interesting. I think training is something we could definitely do. It's easy for us to get coupons and whatnot for things. That does make some effort for us. So that is like reading 60 blog posts and discussing around amongst ourselves. Anytime, because I went through yesterday, and it was a stat holiday yesterday, for over 2.5 hours, making sure that folks who were pending in the previous semester were declined, so that they weren't hit by the system's "you can only apply for 3 things at once" thing. So people were saying, "Hey, I applied last semester, I didn't get declined. I can't apply this semester because I've got pending applications." So anytime that we've got like 30 or 60 some odd, or anytime we have 60x to do, let's say it takes us 5 minutes to do a thing that you have to do 60 times, it explodes pretty quickly. So I'm always hesitant to sort of give ourselves more work as much as I would like to. If we have the capacity to do that, I think that it would be interesting, but I don't see us having the capacity at this point. So moving on to term 2, applications are due today. I'll be going through and closing all of the applications at around 5 o'clock today, maybe about 5:30, give some folks some time to get that last sort of, the procrastinators always appreciate, even if they don't realize, it's like, oh, I handed this thing in at 5:16. Close enough for me. That's fine. So I may look at it at 5:30 or 6 and close them at that point, and then send out the email. Well, the email will go at 5:01 anyway, just to sort of get folks thinking about the selections. I think the 29th, we've only given them a week so far to make selections, which is a little short this term. And normally I like to give folks 2 weeks, just because sometimes people like to like actually connect to folks and interview them. But I think this particular, I think a week is probably all that we're going to be able to give them. But yeah, so that should, that we'll have some work next week on the admin side to do the paperwork and whatnot. I'm also doing a, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here. So somebody put Google Summer of Code on. I think probably Ali, would you like to?
Yeah, that is me. But before that, so for LFX term 2, so I'm also signed up as a mentor. And now today there will be like the due date for the applications are today. So this week I need to check who is a good candidate and who's not.
That's
So
correct.
but we should probably send an email or some kind of discussion or something.
I've got that scheduled for 5:01 today, so that'll go
Okay.
out today. I've created a email list for the mentors for this, so it should hopefully, actually, let me know if you don't get it in a few hours. It's 2:30 now PST, BDT rather. So at 5:01, so in about 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours plus 1 minute, you should get that. If you don't, let me know, because that means I've goofed up on our mailing list. It's nice to have somebody on the inside here. Also, hello, Brad. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Thanks. Yeah, you too. Very well, thanks.
So I can let you know in the morning if I don't receive it.
Fair enough.
And you will see it in the evening, like my evening, your morning.
Yeah.
So it takes a time. Yeah.
That'll be a fun text to wake up to, or a fun Slack message to wake up to. It's like, oh, that didn't go. All right.
Yeah, it will work. I'm sure.
Well, it has so far. So Google Summer of Code. Season of Code,
Yeah,
Summer.
so I added that one just to let you know. Coding starts next week on 29th. And we should probably reach out to mentors, asking if there are any inactive mentees, because 28th of May is the deadline for informing Google about this. Google actually says if there are any inactive people, let us know in advance, other than just failing them later.
Right, okay.
So we should do that. And we should also ask mentors if they reached out to their mentees.
Yeah,
So I can
absolutely.
do that tomorrow.
Let me, I had pushed back on creating a mail list for Google Season of Code for CNCF. I think this would actually be a good use case for that mail list. Let me make a note to create it, and then you and I can populate it. I'll make you an administrator on that list, and then you and I can populate it so that you can send that out, because I think that would be better via email than via the forum.
Okay, yeah. And the due date 28th is, when is that? Monday?
It's on a Sunday for me.
It's on a Sunday. Yeah, okay. That will be weird. So we don't have too much time, actually.
Yeah, we gotta get on that. Yeah.
Only, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's again on you, Nate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
more
create
work for you.
what I'm going to do on that one, and forgive me because I've got a lot going on right now. I'll create an email list, make you an administrator, and then I'll let you fill it in. If that's okay?
Yep, sure.
Thank you.
I can send the mail.
I wish I were less busy. Who put up the underground mentoring program video?
That I did.
Okay,
Brad,
what
I
is
hope
this?
you're okay with it, because he was sending me a message about this video. Maybe you can talk about it. I watched it like halfway, not all of it yet.
Yeah, so this is for the shadow orientation for the Kubernetes release team. So Grace decided to like extend it out to the community a little bit more. So we sort of did it live. We didn't really share it because it's just meant to be for the comms, the release comms channel. I think they might be scared to get too many applicants next year. So it was just an example of the shadow orientation for what it looks like to be in that program, because for me, it's like probably one of the best mentoring programs that I've ever been to. You know, I've learned from it. Now I'm a mentor through it. So I just wanted, to share that with this group as well, just for awareness. Yeah.
Are you the comms lead for this release?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to segue just for a moment. You and I should get together, because I'm an editor on the Kubernetes blog.
Okay,
and so I'd be happy to help with dates and managing reviews and such.
thanks.
So yeah. Okay. Thank you for the link. I will watch that and take a look, and I agree that that shadow program is quite good. We've actually got a couple of folks discussing how to expand it into other areas, and I can't remember. I think Rian, you opened an issue, or somebody mentioned it last week when I wasn't here, about sort of a CNCF buddy system that sounded similar to that, as well as potentially like I said, it's a good program, and it could be interesting to see how we can expand it and make use of it in other areas.
Yeah. Also, as a note, there's 2 other projects adopting it. There's Cluster API, and then there's another one that I can't remember which one, but Cluster API have taken that program as well.
Oh, good to hear. That's very cool. Okay, so moving on, Lee Calcote and I are going to be working with Dave Scuda on a maintainer circle for mentorship. And that is scheduled, I believe, on the 30th. I should double check this because that's coming up pretty quick. And I also believe that it is going to be at 9 a.m. PDT, so my time. So it may not be a great time for some of you folk. But I did want to sort of put it out there saying that we're going to be sort of going over it. I can give you a rundown of the outline. I haven't written the talk yet. Let me just grab, here it is. So the things that I think I want to talk about is just like who I am, what we are, what we do, the importance of mentorship in the CNCF, the overview of the programs that we do, the impact of them and some of the success stories, if I have time, and then how the CNCF supports access to all of these programs that we're doing. And lastly, because it's a maintainer circle, I want to make sure that we're encouraging folks to go through. And then Lee will be talking about his sort of experience as one of the most prolific of our mentors in the LFX program. So I'm hoping that it will be an interesting one. It's going to be a short one. We're only doing an hour, so I'm going to have to go through all of that in probably 20 minutes if I want to give time for questions and conversation. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be interesting. I was supposed to do this in the first half of the year, and unfortunately, I had to beg off. So. I just wanted to move on to the stipends process. We are at, for the first half now, 57 of 60 people approved to be paid, which is to say that there are still 3 people who now, when I move into this next section of term 1, I'll probably have to reach out directly to and say, okay, don't do a full payment stipend request. And the reason this has gone as slowly as it has is because we were the approval system that we were using was breaking under the weight of our use. And so we had to change it, change the way we were using the APIs and whatnot. And unfortunately, it added a lot in terms of me chasing things down and like not having as much information to try and chase things down as I had in previous semesters. I'm disappointed about it. I have raised concerns internally. I expect we're also going to have the same problems at the end of this semester, but I am hoping that in the next quarter or two on the LFX side, we should be able to spend some development time on that system to try and get it in a better shape. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to look just yet, but I will keep you all in the loop as I know. I'll let you know. All I can say is I'm disappointed, but we're working through it. And then the last thing on my list is a request from Chris Anachuk. We moved a bunch of stuff around, and I think that's fine. But he was looking specifically for the program statistics page and was frustrated in trying to find it. So he asked me, where did it go? And I said, oh, it's right here. And he's like, you've buried an important piece. Please unbury it. And I'm like, okay. So I've opened up an issue to do that. We need to do 2 things. We need to find a better home for it at the top level because this is, I think, probably top level information. I don't know that we need the entire history of everything at the top level, but we should have at least our most recent statistics at the top level for all of our programs. Just to, again, to make it easier to view. One of the things that the CNCF is doing this year, and you saw this at the KubeCon keynotes and whatnot, is we're trying to boost awareness of our mentorship programs and what we're doing. And so this is one of those types of things that would help to do that. So that being said, I don't have the link to the issue. I put I think it's like issue 1000 or something like that. And I'm wondering if, on that note, I haven't got it on the agenda, but at a certain point, now that we've got the reorg done and completed, should we start thinking about what a mentoring website looks like? Or is that something we don't want to touch just yet?
Sorry, I didn't understand what a mentoring what looks like.
A mentoring website. So right now, everything is in a GitHub repo, which is, it's good that it's there, but it's not an ideal way of communicating this stuff or managing it, really. I think that having a website is a good idea. I don't know where it would live or what it would look like, but I'm wondering, is that something we want to start thinking about now? Is this something we want to start thinking about next quarter, so Q4 maybe? I think we're heading into Q3, are we? Where are we? Where are we? We're in Q2 right now, I think. So heading into Q3, I'm not sure that we want to do anything on it right this quarter is coming to an end pretty quick. So maybe, well, my question is, when do we want to start thinking about that, or do we want to start thinking about that?
I think looking at the refactoring, we rearrange things in a good way, but under both mentee and mentor sections, there is actually quite a bit of work that we still need to do to fill in the. So we got the skeleton, but there's still a lot of meat missing.
Yeah,
Muscles. Yeah, so I think we need to pick it out exactly. I think there is issues. I'll go through it and see what is still open and make that priority for ourselves to fill that. So when we go to the website, we have a full package to present rather than still have holes in it. That's what I think.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
So I have a question actually. So what is the use case? So what is the target here for the website? Like showing just information about different programs that we have, or is it gonna be like a copy of the repo, or will there be any interactive stuff? Like, what's the idea here though? So I can't really, that is kind of, I know that is part of the thing that you mentioned, so we need to figure it out. But yeah, just initial thoughts. What do you have in your mind?
Yeah, I think that the audience is twofold. I think it's maybe threefold. So the stakeholders are going to be CNCF folk, tag folk, governing board folk. That's your stakeholder set. I think another audience is going to be mentees looking for information about our programs and how to apply and where to apply. And then there are going to be mentors, folks who are looking to say, hey, maybe they're just in the sandbox and they're trying to find out, oh, okay, well, I've heard that we're eligible for mentorship. What does that look like for a project? How does a project become involved? And a lot of the organization that we've done, like Rian says, we've already organized some of the information architecture and populated some of it. And I think that can all get put onto the website. The piece that I'm curious about is I'm not sure if we want to move like right now we're using GitHub as a way to approve and manage the proposals process. I think that's probably still best kept in GitHub, right? So anything under the programs folder probably stays in GitHub. And I'm wondering if some of the stuff in the other parts of the repo become a website, because again, it's more akin to static information that would be helpful if it were more searchable, more visible. It'd be good to get some analytics on there, see where people are coming from, how people are finding such stuff like that.
So any markdown document, we can put it in the website with no effort. We can just embed it. So that should be easy, and that would make sense, I think. Okay.
So then the other question that I think we have is, does this live under contributor.cncf.io, or do we redirect mentoring.cncf.io into its own separate website from the tag website? And that's something that I think we need to consider. I don't have an opinion on just one way or the other just yet, but I think those are kind of our two options.
Yeah.
Just
We need
to
to think about all of these, I
at this
think.
point, sorry about the markdown. If we directly embed, I think, because my direct concern was immediately maintenance. If you don't have the same document reflecting on the website, you're going to have maintenance issues. So I like Ali's suggestion about that.
Yeah, I think we would probably move things out of the repo into, or if we may also have a website folder in the mentoring repo. Again, that's another thing we can discuss. But I think that if things are on the website, they shouldn't be loose in the repo. I think if we create a mentoring repo, then that information goes. Rather, if we create a mentoring website repo itself, then stuff will get moved into that. If it becomes a part of the contributor strategy website, then it will get moved over there. And I think that also gives us the opportunity to make linking to things a lot easier, because right now we've got all of the GitHub sort of cruft that's in the middle of every link, right? So if we're linking to term 2 August, June, August, then it's also got like what is it, blob main, whatever the branch is, and it's got a lot of extra information in the URL. It might make some of that stuff a little bit easier as well. So again, I don't necessarily want to start thinking about it now. I just want to put it in folks' head that I think it's something that we need to start considering for the next. Now that we've got the one part done, it's like, oh great, what's the next part? And I think this is a part of that thought process that we're going to have to go through.
Yeah, I think it's important because just as far as creating another channel to provide ease of access for those who are just curious about it, they aren't necessarily going to look into the repos and everything in the first instance. And maybe in the short term, after considering what Leon said with fleshing out all the repo content, getting that up to scratch, maybe at least in the early stages, putting it under the contributor.io site probably makes sense while we're still sort of building out visibility there. Like, all the plugs and everything from KubeCon, obviously we're pointing everyone to there first, which we obviously sort of sit under. So we'll sort of support the growth of that until we have all the mentoring content, everything established the way we want it to be. Then perhaps we can look at sort of branching off later and creating a separate website if the content and everything can justify it. But I think just a general while, like I said, we're still trying to raise awareness of all these sorts of initiatives and everything. I think website's pretty good look when timing suits.
Yeah. So, all right, we've got about 10 minutes left in our, actually probably about 5 minutes left in our time. Is there anything that anybody would like to bring up that hasn't hit the agenda or the notes?
If I can, I'll quickly swing back to issue 1000. I added the link in the agenda. What I'm thinking about, because I was a the proposer of let's get all the messy statistics off the front page. So I'm thinking how to put it back not messy. So
That's exactly the problem.
How's this for an option? If I go to the front to the README, maybe under the program we got mentoring program, then the table of the programs, and then maybe just under that before code of conduct, we put in a small paragraph saying historically we had all these programs, and if you want to see the statistics, follow the link here, and then like that. And the statistics page, if you know where to find it, if you have the direct link statistics is over here. I think the statistics page itself is pretty clear as it is, unless somebody disagree. So not physically moving the page, but rather just make a small 2 or 3 line paragraph referring to the statistics, if that would pass as a clarification.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea. One of the things I was wondering, I was thinking something similar, but I was going to suggest adding the most recent stats for the most recent term that we have stats for on the front page in that README. That way we've only ever got 4 bits, right? 4 or 5 if we bring on another, or 3 if we drop a program. And then provide a link to the archived stats if people want to dig into what we've been doing previously. The other thing this actually reminds me of is I'm working with Don and Josh on, I've collected the history of all of our LFX folks with their GitHub usernames, and we've found the last date. We're going through and seeing whether or not people have contributed since the end of their mentorship. And that's the type of thing as well that I'd like to add to a statistics page once we get that data sort of generated and that report built. Because we're short on time, what I'm going to suggest is that we have this conversation in the issue. And I think whatever the consensus winds up being is probably how we go on it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll make the suggestion and maybe even link to a fork how I think I would like to propose it. Because what I think about what you propose, that we bring some of the statistic to the front page, and it's going to be a lot of, every time we have to get to the point where the front statistics get old, there's going to be a lot of moving things around, which is going to be hard on thinking about the amount of work.
I agree.
So,
and I appreciate you thinking about the amount of work.
yes. So I think because then if we just then maintain the page at the back, linking to the front, not trying to push that it has to be that way, but I'm just thinking how much work it was to get it the way it is, and rather not make more work.
Yeah, I agree. That's something. Let's like I said, let's just because we're running out of time here. Let's have the conversation. I think you're making some good points, and I agree. I would like to do less work wherever possible. So yeah, let's take that offline. Last call for comments, concerns, questions, shout outs. Okay, again, thank you all for spending your time with us on this. I literally couldn't do it without you, so I very much appreciate you being here. I was going to say let's give you 5 minutes back, but I think we're right at time. So thanks, everyone. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
good to see you.
Bye.
Yeah.